Hello, everyone. This is Royce Wells, and it is March 17th, 2024. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And the title of this week's seminar is Breathe In, Breathe Out. All clear? Maybe, maybe not. All right, let's take a look at what we're looking at. So, if you've used our indicators before, that means you may recognize our dashboard and our arbitrage band, but not too many people recognize our arbitrage forecast. Arbitrage forecast basically lets us know when we basically reach the top or bottom, and basically how fast the trend is going or has gone in the recent future, and basically how slow it may be slowing or accelerating. So we can basically see where it's going, how fast it's going, and when to leave if things get just a little bit too choppy. I'm going to go and we're going to start in the Forex market this time. So let's take a look there. We're going to start with the dollar. So the forecast indicator lets us know what and where everything's going. So that way we know that we are going in the right direction. Top, sideways, and bottoms lets us know the state of the market. It lets us know if it's underneath, it's in a sell trend. If it's hugging that dash green line, it's a sideways pattern. And if we actually see it up, that means it's actually in a confirmed buy trend. Well, the forecast also does something a little bit similar. It doesn't do exactly what top, sideways, and bottom. It actually tries to measure those deltas to see if and when the trend may be changing direction. And typically, our arbitrage band, it moves all over while the forecast is fixed around zero, and the band literally moves around that 0 point as if stuck in a gravity well. So enough about the mechanics of forecast. Let's take a look at what's going on with the dollar. On the 4-hour time frame, we see that basically the RSI line on our arbitrage band got deep because of the fall that happened roughly the 8th of March. It got deep in the very edge of the arbitrage band on this 4-hour time frame, which basically meant we had no choice but to go up from there. So when things look their darkest, don't give in just yet, because basically you'll run out of probability and it will allow you to rise, rise, and rise. We're not completely out of the woods yet. As you see, there's still a red histogram underneath this 4-hour time frame, letting us know that on the 4-hour time frame, roughly, the dollar is only gaining about 3 cents every 4 hours. So we like that, but we want to see if it can do a whole lot better than that, because there are times when it almost reaches about 9 or 10 cents every 4 hour, and sometimes it loses as much as 11 cents every 4 hours. So we're just keeping track of where it's going, how it's going, and making sure that we're always on the right side of this trend. Going to our daily time frame, and there's a different forecast, because guess what? Each time frame has its own candles and its own forecast based on what's going on with the arbitrage band. So on the daily time frame, the dollar looks like it wants to actually have an uptrend as well. We're top, sideways, and bottoms. It's sideways now, and basically everything's hugging that line. I am seeing that this histogram has a little bit of red right there. Don't like seeing that per se, but we are still moving at about 5 cents per day, or 0.005 cents, so about a half a penny per day up, while it's only losing about 1 penny. So it's about an average of about 4 cents per day. So I mean, still overall positive momentum for the dollar going forward. We also see on this daily time frame, roughly around that 7th or 8th of March, we had dollar signs letting us know that our Z indicator had ran out of probability and to expect a bounce. And sure enough, it did. All of our indicators are literally based on trying to figure out where the inflection points are and making sure that we are there to make money. The only thing that worries me at this current junction is the fact that there were dollar signs here, now there are dollar signs here. And if you guys do Elliott waves, you can see a clear line from here to here to here. The question is, can the dollar make it back over this black RSI line to continue to trend up? Forecast thinks that it can, but nothing else is agreeing just yet. We do have that nice green X that let us know Thursday that that could be the case, and it followed through to pull us up from about a 2 76 valuation all the way up to about a 103.46 or 44.6 valuation. So it had a nice 60 or 70 cents move over the last 2 days. Let's see if it can hold this and then hopefully find support somewhere around 103.44.5, which is where it's currently sitting, more or less. And yeah, just right above it. So the fact that that's only losing 4 and that's gaining 0.005, that's a very good thing going forward for the dollar. Looking at this, we do see that the novice band says that, hey, guess what? We're in a buy trend. So let's go take a look at our novice band on an arbitrage band and system. And we're going to change this guy to novice because both of those were green. That means our compass line has made it above this orange line, which defines the arbitrage band. And now we're just trying to see if we can find and hold support at this level at that 103.22 and see if we can push through the next barrier, which is at 103.77.2. So we have a nice little 55-cent range that we can play with this week. Let's see if we can either push it to its limits or if we'll pull back just a little bit. Knowing what we know about our arbitrage forecast, basically, we do not want to see it gain more than 33 cents in a single day because in doing that or seeing that, that can spell disaster for us because that means more than likely, if it does gain that much in a single day, it's going to give it all back. So never be on the ropes, never be on the outside of the trend. Make sure that you stay as close to the middle as possible and watch the histogram to make sure that you are always winning. That being said, let's take a look at New Zealand. New Zealand basically had a nice little run up going into the very beginning of March, March 1st, and something happened. Basically, looks like we hit that mean line of our arbitrage band and the RSI line of our novice band, letting us know that basically we can't do that, and we're getting a little bit of green, a little bit of red, and looks like it's losing faster than it's gaining. So that means ultimately we're expecting more down from this New Zealand pair, and top sideways and bottoms are both agreeing with that, saying, hey, yeah, we just switched to a sell trend as of this Friday and that last little bit of a sell-off. Let's go take a look at AUD USD. AUD USD once again. So right now we're still losing about let's say 7/10,000ths of a cent per day on AUD USD. So that means still overall more down than up, and we're still underneath that novice line. So that means expect more down. Short term, it's still fighting a good fight, but the novice band has said, yeah, where everyone else is still green, we've made it underneath that mean line of that arbitrage band. So expect more red. And as the probability increases, expect more red to last even longer. Looking at EUR USD. EUR USD, it is trying its best not to climb and cross that line. Look at this, folks. We are seeing literally down, 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 3 candles, but that compass line made a beeline. Like, nope, not gonna do it. I'm not gonna cross. And by it not crossing, it basically let us know that, hey, guess what? It's not over. We're not going up. More than likely, we'll be headed back down. We also see that from where we are, it is almost at its peak performance and our optimal performance, moving at about 18 10,000ths of a point per day. So, like I said, both are very much intertwined, intermeshed, and they're not going anywhere, but we're refusing to cross that mean line of that arbitrage band to allow us to have any more up in the very near future. That can change throughout the week, so please keep your eye on this forecast. Looking at GBP, USD, we got dollar signs. If you were in a buy, hopefully you left at it was 128.967. If you did not, shame on you, because shortly thereafter, we got a sell signal, and if you ignore that sell signal as well, we also had top sideways and bottoms go to a sideways, so it's no longer a controlled uptrend at this point. But I will say that GBP USD, this blue line is still above that orange line, so we should find support somewhere around 126.822. And if you look at this without even having on the rest of the chart, notice that bottom is right there. So if I turn on our top, sideways, and bottoms, which lets us know, once again, where our borders are on smaller time frames, we see that right there, it's trying its best to hold on to this trend. So from where we are and where we're going, know that basically it can get bumpy from here, but we should find support somewhere around that 126.82 area. That should be the bottom for this trend. Looking forward, let's go look at JXY. It tries and it fails and it tries again and it fails again. Literally since February of this year, February 5th to be exact, the forecast for JXY switched back to a sell trend, and it has been coasting ever since. It picked up a little bit of momentum and was able to pull itself up about $1 or so, and then immediately give almost half of it back. We're trying to see, however, if the blue line will stay above this black line, and basically we can't get an uptrend for JXY until the trend top and the trend bottom has actually gotten over that orange line. So far, both are under that brown line, and the black line, it looks like there's making room, because if we can't hold this, that means the floor will fall out from under us and the JXY pairs will continue to climb. Looking at NZD JPY, once again, everything's always dependent on that little line. So in our novice band, we see that, hey, looks like we want to start a sell trend. Forecast not quite there yet, but top, sideways, and bottoms is. Basically, I want to see how this week plays out going in. I'm expecting it to be very bumpy, which means, guess what, folks? Volatility should be coming back. And seeing that the trend top and the trend bottom are pretty much squished between the black line for the arbitrage band and the orange line for the novice band, it looks like basically we're just stuck in the channel and they have to break free in whichever way that they break. Hopefully, it will be in the direction that you are trading. Looking at AUD JPY, similar story. We see that basically the compass line has been able to stay above the black line. And what it's saying above the black line, that basically saying that we're still in a buy trend. Once it trespasses underneath, then we can talk. It's about 14 cents from trespassing, but that doesn't mean it's over yet. As we see, top, sideways, and bottoms is pushing up and has pushed this trend back to sideways after it was in sell for about 2 or 3 days. It says, nope, I'm not going to stay there. I only need to take a breather, and then we're going to keep on going. If you notice, these pairs are quite evil almost, and I'll show you what I mean. Looking at this is AUD JPY. This is AUD JPY from literally May of last year to where we are. And when we thought it was overbought, yes, it was. And it's been able to maintain that level, but we went down and then basically sideways for a long period, making room for the orange line to literally sidestep the band and no longer be in the danger zone, which gave us another leg up. And then it did the same thing and moved over. And it's like, hey, we're going to do a sharp turn down and then a sharp run up, which allow volatility to allow the trend top and the trend bottom to both get back above that orange and black line almost at the exact same time, right as it was telling everyone to take profit. But it's like, hey, I found support. What are you doing? Stay in. We got this, right? Right. All right. So near the top, we got a red X saying, hey, we're going back down. If you're able to catch that, that was at 99.01. It has since fallen about $1.31. But let's see if it can continue on. We do see that on this daily time frame, March 14th, Thursday, it was oversold. So we expected Friday that we would have a pull-up candle, and it did. And that candle, I don't think ended higher than Thursday's open. So I am expecting just a little bit more down. But as you can see, our trend top and trend bottom are both pointing down. So all it takes is one or two more candles to basically let it drift and let both trespass underneath that orange line. All right, looking at EUR JPY. EUR JPY is sitting right on top of support. Compass and RSI line on this time frame are trying their best to stay above, but once again, we see the trend top and trend bottom expanding, saying it's anybody's game. I'm going to bring back in the forecast. EUR-JPY says, hey, we're above that line, so our next bet is that the forecast should say that it's a weak front, but it is still a front, saying that a buy trend for EUR-JPY is in progress. GBP JPY fell for almost a week solid, and that falling only got it to the decision point where it said, nah, not yet, and we continue on. So it's still above, so it technically still can continue in the uptrend that it has been doing for quite some time. So not yet, but we're getting a whole lot closer. All right, I'm gonna look at EUR-AUD. EUR-AUD. This guy's all kinds of confused. Looks like Thursday he had an overbought and an oversold. So if you were opportunistic at all on Thursday, you had a chance to maybe get about 70 or 80 pips in either direction. So hopefully you got something in either. So let's go take a look at GBP AUD. GBP AUD, we got a green X saying, hey, we should be going up. And so far, so good. As we see, the trend top is now pointing up. So it looks like GBP AUD should be going up. British pound versus the Australian dollar should be going up as the Australian dollar sinks lower. Okay, let's go talk about the S&P 500 since we are here. SPX USD is literally the S&P 500 versus the US dollar. And as the dollar gets stronger, this guy suffers bitterly. So where we are on a daily time frame, our orange line has made it back to our danger zone, which basically says that we have to correct, and our correction may not be huge, but it's enough points to basically make us realize it or see it. There's about 100 point correction that could come here with a span of close to 200 over the short term. And what I mean by that is these candles, typically when we get that red X, try their best to touch this orange line. If they do, then we should get a bounce depending on how fast we get there. If we get there extremely quickly, then we bounce. If we get there sluggishly, then we'll follow through and just keep drifting down. Meanwhile, the US Dow 30, it's experiencing a little bit of the same. The Dow 30 is actually saying, hey, we're already going into a sell trend. We have the red X confirming it. And right now, it's currently only gaining about 38.2 points per day. And the happy spot is about 36.6. So it's going a little bit slower than what the optimal speed is for the trend. So let's see if this sluggishness will allow us to actually get some more down in the near future. Meanwhile, let's take a look at silver. Silver has rebound, but it's still not where it needs to be. And unfortunately, there's an O up there saying, hey, we're overbought, which means short term, we're expecting this guy to pull back some. So I'm going to go down to the 4-hour time frame and see if we can see how close we are to that. And typically that's where forecast comes in. Anytime we see forecast touching the top of the band, that means, hey, you've exceeded what you're supposed to be able to do. So maybe you'll do what we want you to do. So far on the 2-hour time frame, we see that trend top and trend bottom are dancing with that black and orange line, but they're right on top of each other. This is not typical behavior. So let's see what happens to silver in the near future. Because we see the trend bottom is trespassing underneath both, I am expecting either a very sharp turn to the upside, which will allow us to continue going up, and then a stalling motion, which should allow the band to shrink and basically allow us to find support. But if we continue just to drift down, then the entire trend top and the entire band that makes the arbitrage band trading system will continue to drift down, allowing it to get under both of those lines. And that's no good for anyone who wants to hold silver long term. Looking at XAU USD, we see that we have trespassed under, and let me do this just so that way we see when we cross under. So we actually crossed under, the blue actually crossed underneath the orange Thursday, the 14th at about 10 a.m. And right now it's just kind of drifting. Nothing basically has been decided yet. Still looks like a topping motion. That orange line is slowly grinding to there. And our forecast is saying, hey, there's an undertow saying that, hey, there's a 10 cents per every 4-hour undertow that's on this guy. Let's see if he can basically shake that and still be able to gain his $1.71 a day, or rather every 4 hours, as it was doing previously. Okay, let's go take a look at some of these securities, shall we? A lot of people liked this guy. This is a semiconductor, super microcomputers, and they had phenomenal gains. We had crosses. We basically almost touched the size. It reached a top speed of about $26 per day with an average of that speed. So that means it was really moving, but unlike anything else, you can't maintain speeds that quick and not pay the price for them. So from going a maximum about 20 something dollars per day, it has slowed down significantly to about $7.65 per day. And that's because basically it's been losing altitude, and a lot of things are saying that it's overbought. Top, sideways, and bottom is saying not yet, don't have a sell trend yet, but we may be very close. I'm going to go down to the 30-minute time frame to see what our odds are saying on our dashboard. Dashboard is saying, hey, we're in a sell trend on the 30-minute time frame with a 99% chance that basically this guy should find support somewhere near about 1,040-ish. 1,040-ish should be its support. And if it were to blast off to the stars, it has heavy resistance near about 12.15 to 12.17. So if you're watching this or if you're looking at this and you're thinking about buying, make sure that you back out if it reaches that 12.17-ish. And if you're looking for a good place to buy, 1,040-ish could be a good place to pick up some. Once again, I just have to say this because a lot of people often misconstrue my indicators as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. This is literally what just the indicators are showing us. So please do seek out a duly licensed financial advisor when deciding if you want to purchase a security or equity. And now that I've said that, I can continue on. Looking at NVIDIA, NVIDIA is doing something very similar. We touched our trend top on our 30-minute time frame at about 9:10 on March the 12th. And from there, basically, we've fallen. Where are we going longer term? That's a very good question. From when we first started to fall, we got our first, hey, the forecast is changing right in the middle of this candle that happened on March 8th. And then March 9th, it was really, really gruesome. So from there, all we're trying to do now is make sure that we do not lose longer term. So right now, this guy's sideways. It does have a mean undertow of about 44 cents every 30 minutes or so, with a upward momentum of only about 18 cents. So overall, it's losing altitude, not gaining altitude. So please be careful if you're playing this or trying to play this guy short term or long term. On our 4-hour time frame, we do see we have a red X, but so far it's been able to hold where it's at. We also see that the blue line has trespassed underneath the black line, which means I can go back to my arbitrage band to see how far it can go without having to reset itself. And it looks like it says that 764 needs to be the number that we touch before we are allowed to do anything else. Forecast is still red, and with the forecast going red as of the 14th of March, roughly at about 3 a.m., things pre-market did not look good for this guy Thursday, and it followed through to give just more red. Looking at Mara, if you guys have been playing and watching along with us, we fell, we rose, but when we rose, probability shrunk, creating an artificial ceiling here. So from here, I'm wanting to see this guy get back up to around $21, but that doesn't mean a buy trend is succeeding. That just means we've satisfied probability to allow a sell trend to succeed longer term. So if you're playing this guy, please be careful. Top, sideways, and bottoms is also saying that we're sideways. So if you don't have to be in this security, don't be in the security. All right, let's go take a look at some guys I haven't talked about in a few weeks. And they've said that they've missed me, so I'm going to go talk about them some more. All right, let's go AutoZone. AutoZone has been able to pull up to a $3,100 and 31.24 valuation. What does that mean? That means literally if you just bought and held this guy, let's go up to our daily time frame. This has just been a story made in heaven. If you bought and held, notice the forecast said roughly on the 18th of January, go buy this. And if you listen when the momentum was positive, you were able to profit a little bit over $600 per share. So it's almost a 20% return in just a little bit under 3 months. So actually 2 months rather. So hopefully you got to ride that ride. If not, there's always tomorrow, I guess. So going from here, let's go take a look at international paper. International paper keeps trying to get an uptrend. We got the arrow saying, let's go, but the forecast is still not in the right place for it to succeed. So from that, we're just watching and waiting to see if it will actually break above and give us a longer term forecast of a buy for international paper, or will we be looking back at trying to find support near the 35, 40-ish area. Okay, let's go take a look at Tesla. Tesla, because if you're following along with us, and hopefully you're following along with us, we see that with the way that it fell Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that has allowed the trend top to get over with us in this deflection zone. I want to see if we can pull up. We need to find support somewhere around 182 first before we can do anything else. Likewise, our forecast is saying we can do this, we want to do this, but it has to go green first. So the moment that we see that our forecast is back above that dash black line, that should allow us to be able to trade with a little bit more confidence. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next time.